Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. If you're one of my regular viewers, you'll know that right now on Patreon I have a poll going on for what box set I should review next. I mentioned this in my last review I did, which was for Ozzy Osbourne's Osmosis album. Now, I'm going to mention it because I'm going to review Aerosmith Pump. Now, Pump is not included on the Aerosmith Pandora's box set, which is what is available for me to review as one of the ones you can vote on. But I didn't want to cover one from what is on that box set because eventually I will get to the box set and you'll understand why. The other reason I wanted to cover this album is the first Aerosmith album I covered was Permanent Vacation. This was the follow-up album to Permanent Vacation. It is a cool, solid album if you enjoy 80s/90s Aerosmith. If you are a classic rock Aerosmith, 70s prime Aerosmith, you might still enjoy this, but I don't know if you'll enjoy it as much. Now, this album had some of their biggest singles of all time on it. And arguably, this could have been Aerosmith's biggest album, if not their biggest album, their second biggest album, commercially speaking. We're not talking as a fan, we're not talking about critics, we're talking about commercialism, the sale of it, the big push. Because as much as we want to believe those classic rock albums are the ones that always get the high numbers, oddly they're not. It's because of SoundScan and the way that the music industry changed. They didn't keep records properly back then like they do now. That's all it boils down to. So, let's get into the album. Album opens up with Young Lust. It's not a bad song. I think for me, Young Lust is one of those situations where Aerosmith went, let's just throw this crap at the beginning of the album and get it done and out of the way. It's a nice fast song, kicks off the album nice and quick. That's it. Then we get into F-I-N-E, or fine. There's a little exclamation next to that, or a little asterisk next to that. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what fine stands for, and I don't believe, I gotta go digging into here to see what it stands for. I think it includes dirty words. Yeah, fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. F-I-N-E, fine. It's a fun song. It's a little bit, tongue-in-cheek enjoyable. Not something I'm really into as far as this goes. It's a skip track to me. Now, one thing they did with this on the CD, I don't know if you can read it here. They've actually got, the tracks are actually indexed. Because used to, in the early days of CDs, there was actually indexing for things like this, or songs like 2112 that have points in them. And the idea behind the indexing was you could have, like, here you have going down, and then it goes into Love in an Elevator. Going down was a little intro where it's, good morning, or, does a little, this floor, blah, 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 blah. I can't remember the whole thing. Oh, good morning, Mr. Tyler. Going down. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. So, going down is just this cute little vignette thing. And it was indexed so you're supposed to be able to go straight to Love in an Elevator, which was where the song actually started. Now, there were very few CD players that honestly could read the indexing properly. I had one that could, but it was my stereo system CD player. My Ghetto Blaster style one couldn't handle it at all. Not to say I couldn't play it, but it just didn't read it as an index. Now, speaking of Love in an Elevator, Love in an Elevator is still a fun song. I mean, it's so cheesy. It's so Aerosmith. It's so tongue in cheek fun. I really can't help but enjoy it. Not a bad tune. Then you get to Monkey on My Back. Monkey on My Back's not a bad tune. I mean, it's not a great tune. When the album's playing, okay, whatever. Then once again, we have Water Song, which is this like cute little intro that goes into Janie's Got a Gun. I appreciate everything that Janie's Got a Gun is supposed to be about. I appreciate the story that's being told. I think it's a beautiful song. It really is. And it has a wonderfully tragic message in it. And I think what they were trying to do and trying to show is wonderful until you really pay attention to Steven Tyler's history. And then you got to kind of wonder a little bit sometimes. Sorry, but when you adopt a 16-year-old girl so you can take her across state lines with you, or become the foster guardian or whatever it is, whew, and then you write Janie's Got a Gun, you're going to wonder there a little bit. Just a little. All right. Either way, though, great song, beautiful song, musically, lyrically, the story being told in there is magnificent. I think it is one of the most real songs Aerosmith has ever done. I think it is one of the most honest, truthful, hey, look at this horrible situation songs that Aerosmith will ever do. The only song they'll probably ever do that really captures like that. From there, we go into Dulcimer Stomp, which is the intro to The Other Side. Dulcimer Stomp is really cool. I really enjoy it, actually. It's a really great little intro piece. I really like what they do with it. It's got some great vibes, some great move to it. And I actually enjoy The Other Side. I think it's really a good tune. Musically, it really isn't anything special, honestly, musically. Even lyrically, it's not overly special. But there's just something about it that really kind of grabs you and takes you. You know what I mean? It really helps the album flow, I guess. Then you go into the track My Girl, which is completely forgettable. Then you get Don't Get Mad, Get Even. It's not great. It's not forgettable. But I think it's them trying to do that bluesy thing they like to do. And in this case, it didn't quite work. I don't think it was the right album for it. Then you got the intro Hoodoo, which goes into Voodoo Medicine Man. I dig this song. Voodoo Medicine Man is one of those tunes where you really get into it. I really love the delivery. I really love the move and the groove in it. I really love the vibe and the feel. And then the album finishes with What It Takes. I think it's surprising that they decided to finish with a ballad. And I mean, we're talking a ballad, like a power ballad. What It Takes is basically the intro to eventually what was going to become Amazing, Crazy, and Crying off the next album. And, Janie's Got a Gun's a slower song. It's ballad-esque. You're not going to really go slow dancing to Janie's Got a Gun. At least I don't think you would. I wouldn't. That's a weird one to slow dance to. Maybe you could slow dance to it. But What It Takes is definitely that slow dance song. And it really kind of grabs this vibe and feel that it created a generic template for them to work off of for their next album, which they overused and abused. When it was on here, it was cool. I do like the fact that it sounds, I believe there's some actual accordion in there. I would have to double check. But I really enjoy it. You know, it's not a bad tune. It was something a little different. And ending the album with it, to me, maybe not the best choice to end the album with, but there was no clear album closer on here. There really isn't. I think any song they would have ended the album with, I would have been going like, why would you end the album with this song? So, What It Takes is the best way to go. Bruce Fairbairn really produced one hell of an album. He was one of the main go-to guys if you wanted to produce an album back in the late 80s, because this was 89 here. And I think he did a wonderful job. But at the same time, overproduced. Now, the overproduction is necessary for songs like Janie's Got a Gun. Okay, the sounds, the production, everything he did, necessary for Janie's Got a Gun. I will never doubt that. The Other Side definitely helps as well. Love in an Elevator could go without it. It doesn't have to have it. I think Love in an Elevator is probably the closest to one of the older songs. Like if you're looking at something like Walk This Way or Sweet Emotion, you go to Love in an Elevator. But even that, I mean, I bought this album way, way back. I definitely bought this. It probably would have been around 94, 95, we'll say I picked this up. And I know I bought it in a store. I believe it was actually Kmart. I think it was Kmart that I picked it up in. Good price on it or something like that. It was cheap enough. And it was one of those albums I felt like I had to have because, you know, it was one of those Aerosmith albums. And, you know, everybody had this album, right? And it was either this one or Get a Grip at the time, because I think it was Get a Grip that had just come out and had just been out for a while. I was looking at the two of them, and I ended up going with this one because at the time I had access to my dad's copy of Get a Grip. I still to this day don't own Get a Grip because I never felt the need to go pick it back up again. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I'd ever pick this album back up again. It's not a bad album, but it's not an album worth really having. When it comes to the Geffen era of Aerosmith, as far as I'm concerned, go out and pick up the Big One's Greatest Hits package. Really. The Big One's Greatest Hits package will definitely be a lot more enjoyable than this would be. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Those are my views, my opinions. The comments section below, leave me your thoughts and opinions in there. That's what it's for. Otherwise, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, peace, love, take care.